Garrett, who is going to give you $3 million to make a movie?
Yeah.
And it was just like, ugh, like a gut punch.
Yeah.
The truth is, like, no, like that would be a terrible idea to go running out there with $3 million to make a movie. So I took this, perfect script that I thought was, this is great, and whittled it down to be able to make the movie for $125,000, and raised that money from investors, not from friends and family.
Yeah. How did you whittle it from $3 million to $125,000? Because Jeremy was telling me you did shoot on location in.
We shot in Ukraine.
And then you shot a few weeks in Utah.
I whittled it down and saying, look, what is the core of this story? Like, why do I want to tell this story? It's about two guys that are kidnapped and they're captors. That's the story. It takes place in one room. The idea was like, hey, don't write beyond your resources. A lot of first-time filmmakers or scriptwriters will write these amazing films, and that question of like, who is going to give you this? It's a humbling question, but it's very truthful. Like, you know what? You got to prove yourself before you get some money to make a movie. And how do you prove yourself? By doing it on a low budget or by already having a built-in audience. I had neither of those. Is it doing what you want it to do?
It's doing what I want it to do. It's more like I love connecting with people, and that's like the main thing. And then what I realized like 5 episodes in is I'm like documenting stories for the filmmakers, which is cool. As far as like eyeballs, I have no expectations. Really. Yeah. I've got a lot of work ahead of us that I just want it to be something that is kind of evergreen for people that, these are journeys and not like a relevant topic that's going to die out.
Yeah.
So, it's kind of something. It's a passion project for me.
Great, man.
Cool. Well, let's kick it off. Garrett Batty, thank you for being on the podcast. Welcome to the studio.
It's amazing. Thank you very much for the invite.
Thank you. I'm glad to hear that from you. Someone that's been in the industry for as long as you have, to hear that this is amazing is cool.
Yeah, no, it's very cool. I love what you're doing.
Appreciate that. But yeah, like I said when we first chatted, Luke set us up. Luke Johnson, shout out.
Dear friend of Luke. I met Luke years and years ago on my first feature.
Oh, cool.
And we've been buddies ever since.
Did he produce that for you?
No, he didn't. He was actually referred. We needed a pickup shot in Arizona, and he happened to live down there at the time.
Cool.
So my producer said, hey, call Luke.
Yeah.
Call this guy. He's super funny. We actually didn't ever meet. We just had this text thread going about the shot we needed and described it, and his humor came through.
Yeah.
I thought, this guy, whether we get this pickup shot or not, which we did never get.
Nice.
He's going to be a buddy.
Yeah, he's a good one for sure. And he's like, I'm playing pickleball with Garrett. You got to have him on.
Yeah.
So are you guys neighbors?
We're not. No, but we're all, there's a pretty tight knit, it's a small community here, small film community. So we're all tight buddies, and it's worth the drive.
Cool.
Half-hour drive to play pickleball when we get together.
That's awesome. So I like to start things off with an introduction, so anyone that doesn't know who Garrett Batty is can understand who you are. We can talk personally, family, and then we wanted to hear about what you do as a filmmaker and what your career is currently at this point.
Yeah. So I am a full-time filmmaker, writer, director, producer. My production company is 3 Coin Productions. I'm Utah-based, but lived in LA for several years. After getting my film degree from BYU, moved out to LA.
Cool.
And focused primarily on feature films for theatrical release. And I do a lot in the faith-based and family-friendly content space.
How do you become like the guy that just does features? Because like for you to be like, I do features. That's like a goal for so many people, right? How do you get to that point? Boy,
it dries up, the rest of the work dries up once you start focusing on features.
Yeah, I bet.
And I think that's what that point is. That doesn't mean that I would say no to other work, but I think that a feature takes, for a writer, director, producer, you're on that project for 18 months to 2 years before you start to even see anything from it.
Yeah.
And as you know, any project is going to just take your focus, just 100% of your focus. And so, that's sort of by default. Features are, I think, what people see me as working on. So when other projects come up, they're like, he's doing features or whatever.
Yeah. And you kind of become that guy too. Like when so do you have people now, when they think I want to shoot a feature that's maybe faith-based or in Utah, or they think of a niche that maybe you're in, they just think Garrett Batty's the director, he can produce this. Do they come to you? Are you creating your own projects? Are you funding? Like, I guess, how do these projects that are features that you're focusing on so much of come to you?
Yeah. Well, I've been very fortunate that at this point, yes, people are coming to me with ideas,
Cool.
saying, hey, here's a story. And, I think that started happening after one or two features that I had done by myself and come up with a story and raise the money for and put in theaters. People started to see those and say, hey, maybe, would you be interested in this type of story? So I'm not quite at the point where, people are coming with fully funded projects saying, hey, we want to hire you to, hire your company to create our movie. And I hope to get to that point. But for now, I'm always very flattered and grateful that people say, here's a story. Would you consider looking at this script or helping us get this made?
Cool. And I saw on your IMDb you have done a lot of commercial work. You've directed. Do you still do any of that currently? Or, I mean, obviously you said you won't turn a good project down if it comes your way.
Right.
Yeah.
Right. I do. So I'll do short format, either directing commercials or documentary or narrative. But yeah, I'm always grateful. It's the goal is to be creative, right? Like, let's find projects that we can create. I think I'm at that point where I'm at that point in my career where it's sometimes less about the project and more about the people that are involved.
Cool.
And it's just fun to work with people that we like and that are fun to work with and that have similar interests. And so those are the projects that I tend to be attracted to.
Cool. And do you have kind of a lot of things coming at you? You're just like, because once you get one you like, that's going to take months of your time.
Yeah.
Do you and then I guess during that time, are you getting other things kind of on the back burner? Like, okay, let's focus on this one next, and just so you have that pipeline?
Yes. Yeah, it is. I mean, if we say, how do we grow? Right now, I do have like multiple projects that are kind of each one pushing on, these are big boulders, right?
Yeah.
Big old feature film's a big boulder. And so, okay, we got to push this one up the hill and then put that on pause while something's happening here. And eventually one starts to get momentum and roll, and the others kind of probably lose a little bit of momentum and fall back a little bit.
Yeah.
But that's just kind of the nature of the thing. If I were a better manager, I'd probably have more people helping to push those at once. And
that's a big thing for, I think, anyone in our industry, is it's hard to ask for help.
Yeah.
Because we think we can do it all and we have a vision, and it's like, I struggle with that daily. It's like, how do I delegate?
I'm always grateful for those that have said, look, we just want, we're interested in what you're doing.
Yeah.
And we want to help. And it's very humbling to be like, well, why my project? Why not let's get your projects down.
Yeah.
But at the same time, you find these stories that are worth being told, that are bigger than you.
Yes.
And you say, okay, this is going to take, it would be irresponsible to not get help.
Yes.
And to think that, I'm going to be the one that's going to take this to the finish line. It's like, no.
Yeah.
That is a group effort.
Yep. Especially a feature. Like, you have to have that in all the departments.
Yeah. No movie is made alone.
No way. Do you have anything that you're currently working on right now that you're producing or directing?
Right now I have two projects that we're in. I'm in producer mode for, and with independent film, you're in producer mode until the directing starts.
Yeah.
And so then you swap hats and bring on a producing partner, and then you shift to directing. So I have a movie called Where the Dog Heals, which is a true story. There's a youth pastor in Georgia that sent me his book a couple of months ago. A true story about his dog that went through a cancer diagnosis.
Wow. And
so it's kind of a unique story, but it was impactful for him and that community there. And so we're developing that. We're actually doing a script read through tonight.
Way cool.
And we'll get ready to hopefully produce that here in the next couple of months. We've got some funding for it. And then I have another one with a partner that I've, it's a spy thriller, kind of a spy thriller. I'm not pitching this very well, but it's like Jojo Rabbit, right? It's this historical kind of like a spy comedy. It's set in East Germany, back in the 60s, kind of Cold War era.
That's cool.
There's a religious tone to it.
Yeah.
it's a super fun project, unlike anything I've ever seen.
That's fun. And there's like so much to unpack in all of this, because there's like so many little things you do. And then also producing and directing a feature is like the biggest thing I keep thinking about, is like, you say, I'm a producer, and then I take that hat off and I'm a director. Is that a tough switch? What do you like more than the other? Like, how do you do both, I guess?
Yeah.
That's amazing.
Well, I think that's the key, is realizing that you don't. Like,
Yeah.
no, until somebody calls and says, hey, we want to hire you to direct our project and only direct our project, we've got funding and here's the story, then I do have to take it upon myself to be that person.
Yeah.
Like, okay, I'm going to find a story, I'm going to write it, and then produce it. So raise the money for it. Ultimately, with the goal of, hey, I'm doing this because I want to direct it. I'm not at that point yet where I want to develop a project and create it and bring on another director.
Yeah.
So, yeah, the writing and the producing is essentially to be able to direct these films.
You're
that I
setting
want to
this
make.
up for you to direct. Cool.
And so once the mess gets too big, right, and I say, here's the story, and now we've got the funding, and now we have shooting dates or whatever it is.
Yeah.
Now I need to bring on a producing partner to help manage and kind of produce the production of the film. And then after that, the producing partner kind of goes and works on whatever they're doing, and I take off the director's hat and put the producer's hat back on and get it to the finish line.
That's cool. So you're setting it up for you to be able to, your vision, you're setting it up, you're writing, and then you're kind of passing it off to yourself as director. So that, like, you're setting yourself up.
I'm hiring myself.
Yeah. That's really cool. I didn't know you wrote your scripts too. Is that normal across the board? Like, when someone brings a concept, or even this guy with the book, then do you actually go in and write every script? Because that's cool.
Yeah, it has been the case
Wow.
with my past projects. There have been a few. I did a movie called Out of Liberty, which is kind of a historical Western that somebody came to me with a script, and then we ended up writing different versions together. Or at times I've brought on a co-writer and said, hey, here's the story.
Yeah.
I've gotten it to, I've developed the story. It's cinematic and there's a narrative structure. Now let's do a screenplay, and I've brought on a screenwriter to help with that.
That's awesome.
But
Writing's the toughest part for me. Like,
yeah,
it's like, it's nothing, right? It's obviously you have a concept, but then it's like you're creating the movie for the first time.
you get a blank page.
Yes.
It's the scariest thing in the world.
That's the scariest part. It's intimidating. It's like, how do I start?
Yeah.
Right. And so to think that you're writing it to produce it, then to direct it, it's a lot. That's cool. Like, pretty unique.
I agree with you. I mean, writing is a super lonely,
Yeah.
like, just scary thing. And I think the biggest help for me to kind of overcome that is to be grateful for that,
Yeah.
hey, this is a very lonely period right now.
Yeah.
And guess what? That means I'm totally safe.
Yeah.
Like, nobody's going to see any of this. So my first draft is, I call it my shame draft, where I just write and it's just ugly and gross and formatting's
Knowing
off and
it's gonna
dialogue
be
is
bad.
long and everything,
Yeah.
knowing and just owning that
Yes.
it's going to be so bad.
Yeah.
And that is so freeing.
Yeah. I feel like that's similar to every stage too.
Right?
It's like, you've made the movie on paper. Now you're going to, you've got to pre-produce it, which is essentially making it. But then now you've got to actually direct it, and you're starting with another blank slate. You've got new people, actors, crew. And then when you get to post, I love post-production too. So we do a lot of editing. That's like very similar to writing. I feel like especially if you don't have a script to work off of, we do a lot of commercial work.
Yeah.
So it's like, here's a concept, and you just kind of have to start with a bunch of crap, and then you just whittle it down. So
Right.
same thing.
And yes, and you have to keep in that mindset that, guess what? Like, nobody has made this movie before.
Yeah.
And nobody has made this commercial before. And creatively, we all get to collectively discover it.
Yeah.
And so, yeah, to be able to self-edit yourself and be like, oh, I'm nervous to make a creative decision or a creative commitment
Yeah.
on that first draft, that's a mindset we have to eliminate.
Do you do any posts when you're
I cut my
sitting
movies.
with- do you cut your
My
movies
last
too?
2 features I've actually had editors on, which
Cool.
I've been very, very grateful for. But prior to that, I cut everything.
Wow. So you're just making movies.
Yeah, maybe I'm hard to work with or something. I don't know.
No, you're just doing the whole thing. That's really cool. That's amazing to have that kind of being able to be creative writing, logistical producing, creative directing, obviously managing people, and then being able to edit is cool.
Well, again, like no movie is made by one individual. So
Yeah.
there's still 100 names in the credits, and for me to say, oh, I did everything,
Yes.
I want to be very sensitive to that. So I'm so grateful that people come on. I think you've had Jeremy Prusso on this show. He's been my DP for several of my films. And he has a great team, and it's definitely still a collaborative effort.
For sure.
Yeah.
And that's cool. I mean, it's great for you, obviously, to give everyone else the credit that they deserve, and to I think that's really cool, though, just to be able to take it from finish to end, and allow people to jump in where it makes sense.
I do get self-conscious about it. So my editor name on IMDb is not my real name.
Oh, really?
So I use a fake editor name. So
Nice. That's awesome.
just because it's like, okay, written by Garrett, directed by Garrett.
Yeah.
It's like, wow, doesn't this guy have any friends?
That's awesome. Before we transition to like your journey, I forgot to bring this up at the beginning of the podcast. We have met before. Did you know? You probably don't remember. This was probably 15, maybe 20 years ago. I was a young kid coming into the filmmaking world. They were in your ward. I came to, I think it was maybe it was a baptism, but
okay.
Bob, he's like 6'11", and Paige.
Bob Hayes
And Paige.
Uh-huh.
So Paige is my wife's aunt.
Paige is your wife's aunt. Okay.
And so I came and
that's
he was
a minute
like,
ago.
He was
that's
like super long ago. And Bob was like, he's like, hey, you were there. And he's like, that's Garrett. He does movies in Utah. And I was like, no way. He's like, because he knew I wanted to get into it. So came up and met you. Totally forgot to bring that up at the beginning.
That's so funny. Bob and I were in Bishopric together.
Cool.
And
that's what it was.
That's why I would have been there. But what a great guy. And okay, well,
Well,
I'm glad it's like old friends now. Getting
we
together.
go back. And I wanted to say it before the podcast, but I was like, I'll save it for the podcast. Here we are, like a few minutes in, and now
that changes everything. Now I can really divulge.
Finally, we're like the walls are down. So, but yeah, I want to transition to the journey, which is I think the coolest part, which is like where you got started in this world. Because, like I said at the beginning, you're in features. There's a long journey that gets you to that point, right? To be able to do all the things to produce, direct, and edit. Where did it all begin for you? I mean, you can go as far back as
I don't know how much time you have here.
Like what sparked that interest in movies?
So I have always, and when I speak, I kind of get into this story. So I'll keep it short, but
let it out.
It's okay, you can cut it down.
You'd be surprised at how long some of these podcasts go. So you're good.
Well, I'll say, I mean, I've always wanted to be a filmmaker, just always.
Cool.
I've got elementary school reports on Thomas Edison because he made the movie camera, the Black Mariah, right? And I have, it's hard for me to understand when people don't know what they want to do for a career, right? When they say, like with my kids, like, what are you going to do? What do you want to study? I don't know, Dad. And I'm like, well, no, what do you feel? Like that's just always been in me. So I'm grateful for that, I guess, and haven't ever given myself an alternate route.
Cool.
You
burn the boats.
What's that?
You burn the boats. This is what I'm doing.
That's right. That's right.
That's cool.
And I grew up in Park City, Utah, which was home of the Sundance Film Festival for 40 plus years.
Yeah, unfortunately, just last year decided to move.
We got one more grand finale, depending on where you're watching this.
Yeah.
But so I sneak into festival screenings and do everything I could to kind of learn or at least participate in that world when it came around each year. After high school, I served a mission in New York City. My mission president was very encouraging on film. He says, we'll see your name in the end credits.
You probably got a lot of "Don't forget us when you're famous."
Yeah. I can't remember who told me that, but people.
Yeah, got that a lot when I was young because I've been in this and I've been wanting, similar to you. I knew I wanted to be in this in some capacity, and I had a lot of people, "Don't forget us when you're famous."
Yeah,
like not there yet, but I won't forget them.
I always want to be like, don't you remember when I told you that?
Yeah, exactly.
Like awesome. Wait a second, forgot me. And then I went to film school at BYU, met a lot of wonderful people there, was in the same kind of graduating class is, Jared Hess sat next to me in a film class, and
that's cool.
We've heard of him.
Yeah, he's done a
right,
couple
and then
things.
John Heater and kind of those Napoleon Dynamite and Minecraft and all that stuff. And actually, they were a little bit younger than me in film school, and I was just always in awe of their talent. Just like, man, those guys, they're going places. So,
that's cool.
But then I moved out to LA, and my skill out in LA was an editor. I didn't know anybody. I figured, I was married, and I figured, okay, my wife and I will move out there. She's from Idaho, and I'm from Park City, and so her being from Idaho, moving to Provo to college was like moving to the big city.
Yeah,
and so we said, hey, we're going to go to LA, and she was on board with that, which I'm very, very grateful for. And we
said, like, I guess obviously the movies, but like, did you just feel like that was the place to be if you wanted to be into features?
Yeah.
Cool.
Yeah. I mean, that was our goal. We had about a year's worth of savings, and we're like, okay, we're going to go out for a year. If we're not some Hollywood executive in a year, we'll figure out what we're going to do.
And when you make that decision to go out there, do you have a plan? Do you have connections?
I didn't. I had no connections. Wow. I didn't know anybody. I'd never lived out there. I went out about a little bit before, just kind of drive around and say, okay, do I want to move my wife out here? Do we want to take this risk and this leap? And it felt good. We try to be prayerful about whatever decisions we're going to make together. And we ended up moving out to Burbank, which absolutely loved. My skill was editing, so I could get freelance work as an editor. And I feel like we landed on our feet out there. We were an amazing community, wonderful people. We just loved it. We absolutely loved every minute. You started to meet
people and realize who's in the industry, who's not, and then you started getting hired as an editor.
Yeah.
Cool.
Yeah.
Were you editing film?
People were telling us, hey, to make it out here, get temp work. Like, you have to find temp work. And so we said, okay, that's what we'll do. If I'm not doing an editing gig or directing or something profitable, we'll get temp jobs.
Cool.
And so we were very fortunate that, I think my first job out there was phone sales, like selling tickets to educational screenings of the movie Holes.
Oh, cool.
For Disney. Like, hey, we have a new movie coming out called Holes or whatever.
Nice.
And so there's lots of like temp work and things like that to help prolong the time that it takes to land to land on your feet.
Were you editing film? Because was digital a thing yet?
No, it was all Avid. So
okay.
I was editing.
It was on Avid. Cool.
Yep. And I cut a lot of trailers, and we did like DVD promotions. So that'll date me. There's DVDs.
And I'm not trying to date
Those are discs that your parents used.
I remember DVDs real well. In fact, I used to. I was in the era of shooting weddings when I was growing up, and we would export and put on DVDs.
Just crank it out to a DVD.
A case with a DVD to our newlywed couple.
Yeah.
And now it's like, that's not a thing. Just give them the file.
Yeah.
Like, it was so much more difficult to deliver a video at that time. But yeah.
So to even date myself more, so one of the main sources of income out there while I was in LA, I was editing for studios, trailers or whatever it is. But then there was an independent film movement in Utah starting, like with these LDS films or faith-based movies that were coming out, like Singles Ward and The RM and things like that. So the companies would put those movies into theaters and then not know what to do with them. Like, not that I not know what to do with them, but like, how do we get them now to DVD? Yeah. Because I was out there, I was positioned, my company that I was starting could author and design and kind of create all those DVDs.
The menu system.
Yeah,
that was the whole thing.
I loved it.
Yeah, like it's almost like a website on a DVD.
For me, it was like this. Okay, here's the movie, and then how can the menu system create this, celebrate the world that you're about to enter?
Yeah.
And so I ended up. That was my primary source of work out there, was authoring and designing and then replicating the hundreds of thousands of units which we used to sell of DVDs. And then shipping them out to Hollywood Video or Blockbuster Video or Redbox or whatever it is.
Wow.
So I kind of facilitated all of that.
Were you actually burning and
You didn't.
However you actually put a movie on a DVD.
Yeah, in that when it's that quantity, you're actually replicating it. So you take it to a factory, they create a glass master, and
that's true.
Stamp it out. But yes, I was facilitating that.
Cool.
And I think that fed my desire to be like, okay, I think I can. If such and such movie, which did this much at the box office, is ordering this many units of DVD, I think this could be a profitable way to transition to start directing my own films.
Interesting. I remember buying a massive, I couldn't even tell you, it's like a printer for DVDs, but it was the duplicator.
Yeah.
And you'd put like a stack of 100, because I used to shoot for like events, a couple of MLMs, and we would just shoot these 3-day seminars and then put them on like 10 DVDs, and it would like
the little arm going
and it just kept doing
from
it
disc makers
in my basement, and it was like a factory.
I love that stuff. And then you got to print, like you buy all the little print things and print the face.
And put them on, and it's a whole experience that's just gone now.
I know. Now you just upload and
I know.
I enjoyed that.
That's cool.
It was a great kind of intro into kind of that full delivery of, hey, how do you make a movie, and now how do you make it generate money for you?
Yeah. And did you get into editing? I guess what got you into editing? And because I hear, like, what I've always been told is the best editors make the best directors. So it's like a really cool place for you to start.
Yeah, I was very fortunate to be able to start in editing. My dad was very, very supportive. My brothers and I, growing up, we'd shoot ski videos, just like go skiing every weekend. And this is back before you got your GoPro or your Insta cam or whatever.
And your DV tapes.
So we had our DV camcorder mounted on a helmet, like a bike helmet, with a big old bolt through it. We were going around skiing with this massive, helmet cam. And then we'd do tape-to-tape editing on a whatever flying erase head VCR.
Yeah.
And then it started to get kind of this nonlinear stuff. And
cool.
So I did weddings as well, and kind of that was always a fun thing.
And you just like to edit, and then that's when you were like, I need to go to LA to actually pursue this as a career. Yeah. Okay. I cut all the student films not all, but those student films. I was a go-to editor, and I was one of the first freshmen hired at the BYU TV station to be an editor, which was really fun. I have a passion for editing. I love it. Yeah, well, I love to hear that, because I actually like to edit too. Oh yeah. When I can get into a project that I'm like passionate about too, we do a lot of ads, and it can get a little tedious sometimes. Yeah. But when it's a really fun, that's where I started, was post-production. Loved editing, and that's a pretty unique place for people to start if they want to be in film, because no one likes it. You're alone. You're in the dark room. There's that lonely theme. Yep, I'm with you, man. When you going back to, like, not to start over, but the very beginning, when you say that you just always wanted to be a filmmaker, what was it about the movies that made you think that? Like, what were you trying to pursue when you thought, I want to be a filmmaker? So, my dad took me to see The Karate Kid. And I know that that's a weird movie, because everybody always like, oh, we went and see Star Wars, and I knew I was going to create a world. And and I wish mine were Star Wars. Mine's Karate Kid. Cool. No, it's a good one. So we're watching Karate Kid up at some theater, and it had already been out for a while. And I wasn't a young kid. I was probably 12 or maybe a little bit younger. 10 or something. But we're watching this movie, and I remember sitting in this theater that's kind of sold out, full of people. And I remember looking around and going, this is dads and their sons. Cool. Like watching these movies. And then, I was aware that, hey, this is just light and sound, right? This is a made-up story. Yeah. And yet, here's these these grown men, 40-year-old men, that are like kind of doing the sleeve wipe, kind of this emotional response to light and sound. And I'm thinking, I enjoyed watching them, watch the movie. Yeah. And I thought, God, what? There's like a power here. There's a power here. And if I could figure out how to kind of wield that power, that we could influence people for positive. Yeah. And I don't know that my thoughts
at that point were like, hey, that advanced or that
Yeah.
focused. But I was drawn to, this is just light and sound. And I told my dad afterwards, I'm like, Dad, that was amazing. You know, thanks for taking me. That was really cool. I want to, this is what I want to do.
Yeah.
I want to do that.
Was that because did he always kind of encourage that, or was it?
Well, I don't think he understood.
How did you know to
he
just be like, I want to do this?
He signed me up for karate.
Oh, okay. He's like, yeah, we're going to do
Oh,
karate.
we're doing
instead.
karate. Okay. I'm like,
Nice.
wait a second.
Yeah.
But even then, to think, okay, here's this guy that watches a movie and goes, I want this to be a part of, like, I want to take what I saw in this movie and make it a part of my family's life.
Yeah.
Like, that's profound. That's profound power.
That's really cool.
And so, yeah, knowing that, I mean, I thought that moment still informs what type of projects I work on.
Cool. And it's very emotion driven. It sounds like when you're able to evoke emotion in people, like that's powerful to you.
Yeah. I love that.
That's once again, I'm going to relate to you because I'll never forget. And it was actually a wedding I remember giving to someone, and I knew I wanted to do it. This wasn't the reason I got into film, but watching someone cry, watching a video I made, and then also going back to post-production, creating a moment through music and pacing that evokes that is powerful. And it's like the best.
Right? Yeah. And you can use that for good.
Yeah.
Yeah. And a wedding is a perfect example of that,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
Here's what's happened. Here's a retelling of it. But somebody else with that same footage could perhaps maybe not create that emotion.
Exactly. There's an art to the psychology of how to bring out those emotions in film. So you were in tune with that, whether you knew the specifics of it yet as a kid. And so, yeah, you answered the question of you basically wanted to be able to do that same thing for people. And it sounds like connection too, bringing people together to watch films.
Yes. Yeah. Yeah. I mean, it is a theatrical experience that I'm drawn to. Like, how can we create that emotion, but in a community space?
Cool.
That's exciting to me.
That's so fun because I think that's lasting. It's like that's the purpose behind what you do, right? And I think that's really cool. It's something you're probably chasing constantly with every film.
Right?
It's like, how do I get that feeling again? So fast forwarding back to you're in LA, you're editing, you're doing DVDs.
Yeah.
Kind of what happened at that point.
So we were out there for several years, and my wife comes to me one day and says, hey, we need to move back to Utah. And it was just kind of a out of the blue, very unexpected thing because we were both doing very well. In fact, we had just qualified for a home out there in Burbank. We're going to buy a home and really make it happen. And I said, I didn't, that's not what we talked about. And she said, no. She said, I know. Well, I think we need to move back to Utah. And we're prayerful about what we do. And so she said, well, pray about it. And so I did. I received that same kind of feeling like, rats, like we got to move back to Utah. I don't know why.
Yeah.
But within a couple of weeks, we had purchased a home sight unseen online. And said, okay, I guess we're tucking tail and moving back.
Yeah.
And I thought that, okay, that's probably the end of like that dream of making films. Like, I'll go, which for me, it was theatrical films.
Yeah.
And not to downplay anything, but I was like, okay, I think that I could probably get some corporate work out there in Utah and use my skills as an editor to at least provide for a family.
Yeah.
So we kind of bit the bullet, moved back, and then when we got here, she said, okay, I know why we're here. And this is probably different than the filmmaker's journey, but we ended up within that year of moving back, she said, we're here to do foster care. And so we ended up adopting 3 kids.
Really?
In that first year, we had 3 kids placed with us, and then took a couple years to adopt them.
Yeah.
But that was the answer to kind of why we moved back.
Yeah.
And so while our hearts are still in California, we would very much love to be there.
Yeah.
This we felt like that was kind of where we were being led.
Yeah, kind of a bigger purpose.
Sure.
Yeah.
Yep.
Crazy.
And it's been a obviously a wonderful blessing for our family. So we have 4 kids. Our first 3 were adopted through foster care.
Awesome.
Yeah.
That's way cool. And then, so you moved back here. What was the scene like here at that point? Because I know it's great now.
It's great now, and there was a lot of excitement. You know, I already said these movies that were being made in Utah were that I was already authoring these DVDs for.
Cool.
So this was back in 2006. I moved back, and so there was an independent film scene.
Yeah.
I don't think there were as many like Hallmarks or Disney movies a week or whatever it is that were being shot out here, but there was certainly an independent film scene and excitement for it. There's still a lot of dependency on LA for post-production and certainly replication and even crew and things like that.
So a lot of times people in LA movies would probably come to Utah for scenes or to shoot certain things in areas and then hire the crew there. Was there a lot of ideas being created here that they would hire LA for, or was it kind of the vice versa at that point?
In my world, in my little sphere of the industry, it felt like the local films were obviously like kind of church based, and if a bigger movie were being shot out here, it was crewed and created and funded from LA. You know, they would come out and use the locations and then go back and do what they needed to do.
Gotcha. Cool. And so you were editing.
So I moved my whole company back here and said, okay, we're going to move the DVD authoring right back to Utah, and that'll be kind of what we do, and we'll look for corporate work. And I grew that company. Like, 3 Coin Productions had 5 full-time employees, and we had different clients, and it was very kind of corporate, less narrative stuff, but it was keeping us fed. Yeah,
and then you were still pursuing. I guess to even go back to the beginning, like, were you in this to be a director?
Yes.
You were like, that's the path.
Yeah.
Cool. And so at this point, how close were you to getting to that?
I was getting farther and farther from that.
Oh, were you?
I think the desire was still there. Like,
of course.
That's at night you lay awake and you go, what do I got to do to like get that first feature on my
moving
belt?
from LA to Utah.
Right. That's a farther way. That's a step back. And now we're doing corporate, and now I'm, hired 5 people. And now my primary focus is like, how am I going to get them projects so that I can pay their salaries and whatever it is. And I started to realize I'm getting farther and farther away from this. Unless this, 3 Coin Productions, I'm building that to enable me to do features, then the ladder's leaning against the wrong wall, right? And so I got to the point where the company could stay busy enough with corporate stuff that I was able to at least write a script. So I wrote my first script. It was a movie called Scout Camp, like a family comedy. And it was, again, while like doing the corporate stuff and managing the DVD authoring and burning and that replication thing, I decided I've got to just write. I've got to create this script. And so I think within 3 years of moving back from LA, we had built that business enough where I was able to write and then find funding for that first feature. Like shot on mini DV or HDV. Yeah. With a couple of cameras and shot over 3 weeks and
did you see that as like the path you needed to write something to be able to be a director?
Yeah.
Versus being hired as a director, obviously with not a portfolio.
Yeah.
You have to create the projects.
Yeah.
Is that one online?
Yeah, I think you can watch Scout Camp, the movie.
Okay. Scout Camp, the movie. Oh, Ben, you're a wizard.
Oh, Ben's got the trailer.
Oh,
so there's some sweet interlacing on the HDV
This is your
stuff.
first film that you directed and wrote
Yes.
and directed?
Wrote and directed, produced by 3 Coin. Cool. So there's you recognize Brad Johnson from a lot of local stuff.
Yeah.
Sean Hayes is from High School Musical.
And what did something, because you talked about funding and then obviously hiring crew, being a new director and creative, how did you feel like this production wasn't as like a size scope feel? Like, was this a bigger production? Was this just like a I don't want to say a student film, but like a
Yeah.
very small crew that's being bootstrapped and
No, it was definitely bootstrapped.
Yeah.
It was a. I mean, this movie was my film school, right? My master's program, probably.
Yeah.
Because none of us really knew what we were doing, right? And we've got raised, just under $200,000 to be able to make this movie, which is a significant amount of money
Yeah.
for a first-time filmmaker.
For sure.
And I had done shorts and I had done, long format documentary stuff and
Yeah.
things like that. But it's like, okay, we're actually going to, if I want this to be my career, I've got to make a model that is duplicatable, that like we can learn from and we can grow.
Yeah.
And so this was kind of that model. Like, how do we go from zero, concept to completion, everything
Yeah.
under one roof? And that's what this was.
How did you go about funding that early in your career? I know you said you did shorts and documentaries, but like, how did you do that? That's probably something a lot of people would like to learn about. Like, how do you fund a film?
Yeah.
Your first film with $200,000.
Yeah.
I feel like that's a good amount for someone to start with.
Yeah. And there's that saying, like, do what I say, not what I do.
Yeah.
Right. Right. So for
true.
this film, it was a disaster. It was funding through desperation
Gotcha.
of like friends and family
Yeah.
and credit cards
Yeah.
and everything, which is not a good plan at
Yeah.
all. Because at the end of the day, I mean, now I felt equipped because I knew that, hey, such and such movie did X amount at the box office, and then they were able to move 40,000 units on DVD. Like, this tank of a movie moved 40,000 units. So I thought, and this is not the right mentality, but
Yeah.
we're all here to learn, right?
Yes. Well, that's the part of the journey. That's why I ask these questions. It's like, we got to learn from these, I don't want to say mistakes, but like
Yeah.
things that you went through that you learned from
Yeah.
to help people avoid them.
Yes. So put that on the screen.
Yeah.
Avoid this.
Avoid these problems.
Well, the concept, the idea was, gosh, if I could make a movie for under such amount of budget,
Yeah.
then I can at least sell 40,000 units, because these 4 movies
They did
with
it.
a similar tone and feel, and you
Yeah.
do the numbers and you do the breakdown and you go, they did that, I can do that.
Yep.
And so fortunately that was the model, that was the business behind it.
Yeah.
And then you kind of limit your creativity to that model.
Yep.
And say, okay, well, we're going to shoot in one location for 3 weeks, and we're going to have as small a crew and as small a cast as we need, and we're going to shoot on DV, and we're going to just pull this off.
Cool.
It took about 3 years to recoup the costs of the movie. In my mind, and I think oftentimes a lot of first-time filmmakers think that is like, if you build it, they will come.
Yeah.
If I make this movie, they will watch it. That's not the case
Way
at
harder
all.
than you expect. It's always going to be harder.
Yeah. There's not an audience sitting around going, I just wish there were more movies for me that come out that I can watch.
Yeah.
Like, you're just begging people to watch your movie.
Yep.
And learning that, I learned that, I guess, on Scout Camp.
Yeah. How did you go about distributing? Where did, like, for 3 years to recoup that? Like, what was the plan afterwards?
Yeah. So I had relationships with distributors. There were local theatrical distributors for whom I was already, authoring their DVDs. And distributors will create, in-house DVDs showing, hey, these are the 10 films we've made. And so I had relationships there. And I was very fortunate to be able to kind of leverage those relationships into, getting placement for this film.
And was that in theaters, or is it just DVDs?
No, just straight to DVD.
Cool.
Which is a whole another lesson.
Yeah.
As far as like theatrical distribution, but which I'm very, very fascinated about, and now have had a lot of experience in that. So no, this was a direct to DVD, and it was, that's always kind of deflating. Like, you work so hard, you make the movie, and thank goodness it was a direct to DVD movie.
Yeah.
Like, just because you make a movie doesn't mean that it deserves to be in theaters, and it's not a deserves thing or what, but like, doesn't necessarily mean it's good business sense to put in theaters. If there's not an audience for it, you're having to buy that theatrical audience, and on a $200,000 movie, that's a bad way to spend money.
Right. And it's like nowadays, even do you put it in theaters or you just go digital?
Right.
Streaming.
Right.
And it seems like a lot of movies are just coming out on streaming platforms now.
Sure.
It's kind of a cool way to just test it. But then at the same time, yeah, what's the answer these days? Because it's so different. DVD was kind of the streaming.
Yeah. Well, streaming definitely replaced DVD, but it did not replace the income that DVD generated. So it's very much of a question of like, where am I going to spend? Where am I going to get the best return on my advertising spend, on my promotional spend?
Well, I think that's cool because it's your first experience. You obviously went in and you learned a ton, and then most people would give up and be like, "This is hard." You obviously didn't.
It's
you
hard.
kept going.
We burned the boats.
That's true. You'll answer that question the same way.
Our joke now is, should we just give up and be brain surgeons?
Yeah.
Like, let's just take the easy route.
Yeah, no kidding, right? So then at that point, what did you do? Did you just write some more?
Yeah. So, so we released Scout Camp, and I thought, oh, this is gonna be great. It's with a distributor. They're gonna put it in bookstores and DVD stores, and I'm just gonna watch the money roll in.
Mm-hmm.
And that didn't happen. And as far as the do what I say, not what I do, the reason to not do that is because over those 2 or 3 years, people associated me now as a feature film director.
Interesting.
And so guess what dried up? The corporate projects. You're doing movies, or there's this perception of you direct feature films, man, you're probably doing great.
Yeah.
And that's not the case
You're
at all.
a movie star.
Right.
Yeah.
Right. And so I watched that corporate side just kind of dry up. And I was grateful at the time to be able to get a job as a producer for the church.
Cool.
The Church of Jesus Christ of Latter-day Saints started to do YouTube shorts.
Because that was right at the beginning.
Right at the beginning. And I remember sitting in my office in Draper, where Bob Hayes and I were serving together.
Yeah.
And there was an Easter message released on YouTube by the church. And I remember watching that. And it was kind of the first thing on YouTube that the church had done. And I watched that and I thought, that's powerful. And here's an interesting thing. Like, this is kind of faithy content, but it's for an audience that wouldn't necessarily be looking for that. Like, at the time, you're not going to YouTube to watch inspirational videos, right? This is just kind of funny cat videos.
Yeah, true.
And I thought I said to myself, like, man, I would give anything to create that type of content. And it was about that time that everything just stopped. I had to let my employees go, and everything was like, it just dried up. I had I had a year and a half left on the lease on my office space.
Was that because digital was knocking? Meaning like the DVD distributions you were doing?
Yeah.
When I say digital, I mean streaming.
Like, because YouTube and stuff
streaming,
like that.
Streaming like Netflix.
Yeah, I don't know if Netflix was...
Or it dried up because you are
point.
Now a feature film director. Like, how come it dried up?
Yeah, I guess I don't know.
Yeah.
I haven't ever... we certainly scrambled to be like, well, what's going on? We need to pivot. Like, let's do more corporate gigs. Let's shift from DVD. There was a lot of like encoding. We want to encode for streaming, and we just invested in like hardware-based encoders and things like that. But everything just dried up. And in my mind, it dried up so that I would navigate away from kind of that crutch.
Yes.
That dependency on these short projects or wedding videos or whatever it was we're doing, to say it's time to move on.
Yeah.
And that can be very hard and very difficult to go through at the time. But looking back, you go, okay, I'm grateful. Boy, thank goodness that dried up, because I would still be kind of nurturing and nursing along. Hey, how do I feed my editors?
Mm-hmm.
And that wasn't, at least in my opinion, that wasn't the plan where I was supposed to go.
Yeah, and looking back, it's like that was inspired. That was like supposed to happen.
It's easy to look back and see that, right?
This is not supposed to happen.
Yeah. If you're an editor, like that clip didn't belong there or whatever. We needed another clip there.
100%.
So for a couple of, while Scout Camp was making its money back, I was digging out of that hole, and I mentioned I financed with like credit cards a lot of that movie. So not only was the movie $200,000, but then it continues to cost because of interest. So you got $800 a month payments on a movie that's barely making $400 a month, and you just go, this is a mess.
Yeah.
So I then started producing these short films for the church, putting them on YouTube, and for the first time in my life had a job there, and I felt like I was sort of learning and training, like, okay, how do we take faith-based topics and create them for a broad market audience?
Yeah.
And that was very interesting to me. Try to kind of crack the code there.
Cool. Did you because I feel like we're leading to one movie in particular, which is Saratov Approach.
Yeah.
And that was one of your first big hitters, correct?
Yeah, that was my next movie.
How close are we to that?
We're right there.
Okay.
So
cool.
while I'm there,
I figured we were close.
you're like, come on, get to it.
No.
I wanted to take what we were doing at the church.
Yeah.
Saying, hey, here's some really powerful content, and but I wanted to say, let's put that in theaters, and that wasn't something that the department I was working for that they wanted to pursue at the time. So while working for the church, I go home and write. I began to write a movie about the 2 missionaries that were kidnapped in Russia.
And this was a true story?
Yeah, it's a true story.
How did you get inspired, or how did you get the idea to write this? Did someone give this to you? Did you say, I gotta do this?
As a film student at BYU, I remember there was an event that took place. It was like a headline on USA Today, which is a newspaper.
Yeah.
Which is what we used to use before the internet.
Before the internet. Yep.
The USA Today says 2 American missionaries kidnapped.
Yeah.
In Russia, and that was obviously a big story locally, but the fact it was a USA Today, I was like, okay, this is a nationwide story. And then you didn't hear anything about it, and 5 days later, follow-up story: 2 American missionaries freed in Russia. And I remember reading that as a film student, going, man, that's I wonder what happened there.
Yeah.
Like, that's a cool story. Good luck to whoever gets to make that movie.
Yeah.
Like, that's cool.
That's way cool.
So then, 12 years later, when I'm thinking, what story could I do? That story kind of came to my mind. And so I reached out, I tracked down the 2 missionaries that were kidnapped and said, hey, I'm a local, I'm a Utah-based filmmaker. They weren't in Utah. I said, I'm a Utah-based filmmaker. I'm trying to do more like faith-based stuff, and I think your story would be a great movie. And neither one of them thought that was a good idea.
Yeah.
And so they said, well, first of all, they said, nobody cares about our story anymore. Like, when we got home from our missions, we went around and talked for a while, separately, independent. 1, nobody cares about our story. 2, we haven't spoken to each other in 12 years. Like, I don't even know where the other guy is.
Yeah.
And then 3, they said, well, what have you ever done? Like, wouldn't this be, it would be terrible if this were just some cheesy church movie. Like, we don't want to do that.
Wow. Hitting walls like right out of the gate.
Yeah. So I said, okay, well, as far as what I've done, don't watch Scout Camp.
Yeah.
No, I do watch Scout Camp.
Yeah.
That's what I've done. I've done Scout Camp, and it did this much money on this much budget, and that's what I do business-wise.
Yeah.
Creative-wise, let's get together. Let me get you guys together, and I'd love to hear your story, and I'll tell you if I think we can make it a narrative. And so they agreed to let me fly them out to Idaho, and we spent the weekend. They got reacquainted and just told me their story, like the entire 5-day process. And it was about on day 3 that I thought, this not only is this a fascinating story, but it's like perfect in my mind for like a narrative structure. Like, it hit all the arcs, and it was great.
That's cool. And so you just kept pushing towards that. After the 5 days you sat with them, were you like, this is it? Or was it still like wall after wall that you were hitting?
Well, it was wall after wall. I met with them. We said, and I knew that it was going to take a long time. It took me 2 years to raise money for Scout Camp, and I was like, this is going to take a while. I ran into some health issues immediately after interviewing them, which again at the time you go, oh, I had to have emergency open heart surgery, and thinking, why, like, this is terrible. It gave me 6 weeks at home without working to write the script.
Cool.
And so there were, for every wall there was some sort of loose brick that let me finagle my way through.
Yeah.
I wrote the script, and then I started to raise the money, but I remember sitting with potential investors, and saying, okay, here's this story about 2 missionaries that were kidnapped, and here's their story. And, the response was either like, what's the matter with you? Why would you want to make a movie about missionaries that are kidnapped? Like, that's a terrible idea. Or, other guys would be like, oh, yeah, we could make that really, really funny. Like,
wow.
Yeah. And
Yeah.
I was like, okay, well, I got to figure out how to pitch this. I got the script done and I budgeted it out, and the movie was going to cost $3 million. Like, that was kind of my target. Like, okay, if we do this right, it'll be about $3 million.
Yeah.
And I remember sitting with people, and they looked at me like, in fact, a dear friend with whom I've since produced, but we were just getting to know each other. This guy's name is Adam Abel. He produced the Saints and Soldiers movies, which did very, very well.
Yeah.
I sat across from Adam, and I had just done whatever, scout camp and worked for the church. And he was super frank with me, and he says, Garrett, who is going to give you $3 million to make a movie?
Yeah.
And it was just like a gut punch. Yeah. But, I'm so grateful that he was so frank with me. And the truth is, like, no, like, that would be a terrible idea to go running out there with $3 million to make a movie. So I took this, perfect script that I thought was, this is great, and whittled it down to be able to make the movie for $125,000, and raised that money from investors, not from friends and family.
Yeah.
Like, I had a new rule: no friends and family, no
credit cards,
church members, no credit cards, or ward members.
Yes.
But we were very fortunate to be able to raise that much money, which is not a lot. It was less than scout camp, and then to be able to make the film.
And how did you whittle it from $3 million to $125,000? Because Jeremy was telling me you did shoot on location in
we shot in Ukraine,
and then you shot a few weeks in Utah.
Yeah. I mean, essentially
in the building, right? That was kind of where you shot here.
Yeah, it was a neat thing, and in fact, it was fun to be able to. That's the movie I met Jeremy on. I whittled it down and saying, look, what is the core of this story? Like, why do I want to tell this story? It's about two guys that are kidnapped and they're captors.
Mm-hmm.
That's the story. It takes place in one room, and let's make the majority of that in one room. And all the other, FBI scenes and the big, huge scenics of Red Square, whatever it was, those can go away. That's not what this story's about. I learned, that always sounds so weird. This is what I learned. But the idea was like, hey, don't write beyond your resources. Came to me. And I think that a lot of first-time filmmakers or script writers will write these amazing films. And that question of like, who is going to give you this? It's a humbling question, but it's very truthful. Like, you know what? You got to prove yourself before you get some money to make a movie.
Yep. And
how do you prove yourself? By doing it on a low budget, or by already having a built-in audience. I had neither of those. So I don't know where I was going with that.
Well, I was just about to say, I didn't want to cut you off, but that's so interesting when you speak of it as a feature, in a feature perspective. When I look at it in my perspective, which is more commercial, we work with corporations that need content constantly. And I have a creative director that will write for us, and I'll get the script and I'm like, well, like you said, we have to write within our means. We have a budget, and this scene all has to go because we can't afford that. But what it does is obviously it stretches your perspective, and then it's like, okay, how do we bring it back? And then ultimately we create long-term relationships. And let's say we do pull back, we get a great video and it does well for a company. It's like, okay, we get a little bit more and a little bit more. And it's like what you're saying with features, like you do that video, you have success. It's, oh, well, now I know I can get my money back, so I'm going to invest a little more next time.
Yeah.
So it's cool. It's very similar, but different.
Yeah.
You're dealing with
the principle's the same,
longer
though,
videos.
right?
Yes.
Yeah. One of the challenges that I feel, though, and maybe this is irrelevant, but the feature is the product. Mm-hmm. In advertising, we're often creating a film for the project. So there's resources to say, hey, how can we help move this product?
Yeah.
If that feature doesn't move, then that investment's worth $10, the price of a DVD, right? So that there's that's a sad reality of features.
I believe it.
But the point was, yes, we made the movie for cheap. We shot everything we could in 10 days in a room in Draper, in the production office.
Wow.
It was smaller than this space we're in right now.
Yeah.
And I met Jeremy. Jeremy Prusso was
he's at UVU.
He was a UVU student, right? A buddy of mine, Jake Van Wagner.
Yeah.
Who we've done comedy and stuff together.
Yeah.
Jake said, "Hey, you gotta check out Jeremy Prusso.
Yeah.
And I was super nervous. I'm like,
Yeah.
Jake, this cannot be
Yeah.
a student film.
He told me.
Did he tell you the story?
He kind of was like, I was not qualified for this. Like, he's like, and I kind of felt that from people that wanted to hire me. And he essentially had a little bit of a portfolio, and it was student stuff, which is what you're saying.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And he showed it to me.
Yeah.
I don't know if he told you the story or not, but I love Jeremy for this
course.
reason.
Yeah.
He showed me his student films, and I was like, great stuff, man. You know,
Yeah.
and it was kind of like, way to go, guy.
That's so fun.
and I didn't. Like, I told Jake, I said, we can't use him.
Yeah.
And he had he owned a Red or something like
That's
that.
right. He did tell me this.
And he's like,
I had to fight for this position. And one thing that helped is the fact that he had a Red.
Well, maybe he believes that, which is great.
And I
He
could
did
have
to
said
fight
it
for
wrong.
You did it right. So that's funny. Maybe we'll have to cut
I
this
need
back
it.
and
Well,
forth.
we just went through that episode. It comes out in like 2 weeks. So
Okay.
we'll see it before yours comes out. But just
Well,
to make sure we get our stories straight.
I'm sure our stories are straight. It's just
Very
fun to
sure.
hear the different sides of it.
Yes.
Because he showed me the stuff, and I I said, hey, thanks, man. Great stuff.
Yeah.
Good luck. I'm going to go in a different direction.
Yeah.
And it was like heartbreaking
Yeah.
for both of us. It was like,
Yeah.
oh, it'd be fun to work together, but and he even came and like shot our auditions and everything, and it was very, very generous. And then like a week later or so, it was maybe even the weekend, I think I called him when he was at Disneyland with his family. I said, hey man, I can't, we're gonna move on, we're gonna look for somebody else. A week later he calls and says, hey, you're making a mistake.
Yes. He did
He
tell
tell
me
you
this.
this?
Yep.
I'm like, well, that's pretty bold,
Yeah.
and I probably am. There's lots of mistakes I can make.
Yeah.
Okay, what do you mean? And he says, if you give me a sample of what you want this movie to look like, and I'll go shoot that. I was like, dang, okay,
Cool.
I can take that. I love that.
Yeah.
Like that's what I want in a DP.
Yes.
And
Absolutely.
so I put together a little rip reel of Born Identity or whatever it was, and sent it off to him. Said, man, if we can create this look, let's do it.
Way cool.
And he sent me back. He went like a weekend and sent me back some footage, and I just thought, this is our guy, man.
Good for him.
Not
That's
only
cool.
does he have the skill and the talent, but he
Yeah.
like stands up for what he wants.
Yeah.
And, like we creatively could execute this film together.
And it's fun because I was a freshman when he was the senior. Him and Stelios were like, they both had beards, and they were both
Stelios
like,
was on our.
they were the guys, man, like that everyone looked up to. And they kind of, we talked about this, but they kind of, I don't want to say built, but really set a standard at UVU of like, this is what, like, they're a great program, and really showed it. And then, so he was kind of like that guy I looked up to, and he had no idea until now. But then when I saw that he DP'd this, I was like, no way. So you obviously hired Jeremy. Oh, one question I wanted to get to is that, do you think that the movie was better because you didn't have 3 million?
Yeah.
Or was it, you think it's better because you had the 125 you had? Like, would it have been better with 3 million? That's the question.
I don't know. It would have been a different movie. I
Yeah.
can tell you that we shot it for 125,000. Everybody. I mean, we had 10 people on our crew.
Yeah.
We all became the best of buddies.
Yeah.
We're still best buddies to this day. And I've done 8 feature films, and many with Jeremy and with these guys that I worked with. I don't know. It just felt like that's what it was supposed to be.
Yeah. That's so cool to think about, because obviously you wouldn't know that answer. But looking back, it's like, yes, it could have been very different and may not have made the 3 million if we shot the 3 million. But this is what came out of the 125. And you guys, sounds like you kind of created a pretty solid group.
Yeah. I mean, we all
forward.
recognize this as kind of this became somewhat of a calling card and a launching pad. And to this day, whenever we work together, people are like, oh, you guys made Saratov? Well, that's cool.
Yeah.
And, at some point you have to say, hey, we've done other stuff. Like,
Yeah.
keep going back. I could have took state,
Yeah,
start
no
to sound
kidding.
like Uncle Rico.
Uncle Rico. If Coach would have just put me
Yeah,
in.
just put me in. Like, you guys got to see what I did. You want to watch the coolest video?
Seriously.
Yeah, no, we got to move on from that. But the project, we were very fortunate that it did well. I mean, at the time we made the movie, I was still working full time for the church, so we shot in Ukraine our final 4 days, came home, landed. I'm editing on the plane, and then I get home on a Sunday night. Monday morning, I'm back on the train to my job at the church, and editing the movie on the train, back
Cool.
and forth for the next 6 months.
Way cool. And you had experience with Scout Camp distributing it.
So this was a little different. Yes, we wanted to do this. This was exciting because I thought, hey, we shot this for film, for theaters. Like, this was not going to be a direct-to-DVD release.
Yeah.
Because that was our goal, and we put this in theaters. And I actually showed it to the distributors, yes, and they all passed. Every one of them, these distributors that were putting out faith-based movies and that I had, front door relationships with, they're all like, we're going to pass. Like, we don't know how people are going to respond to a movie about missionaries in peril.
Yeah.
I'm like, okay, well, that's kind of the story of
it's actually happened.
Religion, but
yeah, no kidding, right? That's so funny.
But there was one guy, Brandon Purdy, who had worked for one of those distributors. He actually left. He was aware of me because of Scout Camp, and he reached out and he said, "Hey, I heard you have a movie, and I was the one that kind of helped with Scout Camp or whatever, and I'm now on my own, and I'm interested in looking at your movie to see if I can't put it in theaters for you." And it was like a flashback to kind of the Jeremy Prusso scenario. It's like, well, that's what I want. I want a distributor that's going to care about the movie and fight for it, and that's going to take it. Not just going to say, "Oh, let's do it," but let's take away any sort of kidnapping.
Yeah, the whole theme of the movie.
Right. And so Brandon Purdy ended up we went with him, and he started Purdy Distribution, which, for those those are familiar with the podcast will know that Brandon Purdy is head over distribution at Angel Studios now.
Oh wow, I didn't know that.
He's the whole reason Sound of Freedom took off.
Way cool.
So Brandon Purdy said, "Okay, I'm gonna go put this in I'm gonna get this into theaters for you." And we were so excited. We're like, "Okay, we're gonna get this into theaters. This is great." And as a first-time filmmaker, you're like, "That's what I want.
Yes.
That's the goal." And he came back and said, "Guess what? Here's our plan. Here's our big play. We're gonna put this in 20 screens." And it was just so deflating. You just go, "Well, we just worked. We've worked for a year on this thing. I raised money. 20 screens isn't gonna help."
Yeah.
He's like, "That's kind of what we got, guys. Take it or leave it." And it costs money to put it in the theaters, and you got to advertise. And
so you're adding to that. Was that part of the budget, or was that extra?
That's all extra.
Dang.
Had to raise all that money after the 125. Yeah. So not only do we beg, borrow, and steal to get the movie made, but now you're in that mode again to be like, okay, now I got to get P&A funds.
Wow.
What happened is that because so our release date, and you can cut all this out if it's not interesting. Our release date was the middle of October, like 2013. The week before, there was a movie coming out called Gravity with Sandra Bullock. The week after, there's a movie coming out called Captain Phillips. And so we released like on a Wednesday of that week, which you never release a movie on a Wednesday or something like that. But Brandon's strategy was, we're going to release this in 20 screens, and we're going to go for the highest per screen average we can in those theaters. And so it did. We put it in those theaters, 20 screens. It beat out Gravity and Captain Phillips.
Wow.
And we got written up in Variety, and Hollywood kind of looked and said, what is this movie?
Interesting.
And so from that, we were able to put it on any screen we wanted to, and it played in theaters for 6 months, and
cool.
It continued to be very well received.
And is it still being
still
viewed
in theaters?
Or is it I guess you could probably obviously watch it on streaming, but
yeah. No, it's available on Amazon Prime, and our investors were paid back before the movie left theaters.
Way cool.
Our investors were all paid off.
They were all happy, and it's like, when are you making your next one?
Yeah.
Very cool.
Yeah, it took about 3 months for me to raise the money for the next one.
Oh, so that's so cool.
Yeah,
that's finally.
It's finally.
I proved myself.
Well, yeah. I mean, that's what you think in the moment. Like, oh, I finally made it.
Straight to
the
Hollywood.
next one doesn't go. Then, and somebody pointed out there was a guy, Brigham Taylor, who's a producer. He produced. He developed Pirates of the Caribbean series and things like that. He reached out and said, great, congratulations. The movie did a couple million in the theaters, which is fantastic. And he said, just be careful. It's like you're at. How did he phrase it? Something like, it might be an explosion, but as far as Hollywood's concerned, it's an explosion on Mars. Like, doesn't affect them. Nobody cares. So don't feel like and that was. It sounds meaner than it is, but it's like, man, thank you. Like,
No,
just
it's good
don't
advice.
believe your own hype.
Yep.
Just, stay cool.
Enjoy it while it's here.
Yeah, and it's
then,
lightning in a bottle, and it may or
Yeah.
may not ever happen again.
Yeah, that's really cool. So then obviously you started writing the next ones. We don't have to touch on every film that you
Yeah.
wrote, but like
Yeah.
I'd love to talk about maybe the next one that after Saratov that you maybe are the most proud of, that you had either success or failures with. Maybe it's something that you are the most passionate about.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, there've been several since then. I've filmed a movie in Ghana. I took Jeremy with me to Ghana to film a missionary movie there, which was very, very challenging, and had its own set of
Yeah.
unique, every day something's trying to kill you type
Yeah.
experiences. I've filmed a movie in Romania, which it has not yet been released. That's its own set of challenges where it's like, okay, it's a multi-million-dollar movie that I surrendered creative control over for studio backing.
Yeah.
But now the studio owns that, and so they get to decide what to do with it and release that. And thought, okay, well, that's maybe a lesson on what do you want to give up to
Yeah.
make your movie? Do you want to give up that creative ownership? Okay, well, it was nice to make a movie with that much money, and I don't have to pay an investor back.
Yeah.
But God, it'd be nice if the movie were actually out.
Yeah.
So,
Do you find that, I know that you said that's a lesson when you get studio backing. When I worked at Devon Supertramp, I don't know.
Oh, yeah.
So I worked with him, and we always heard from people that were in the feature film industry or just worked in the world. What's the best way to say it? They were in the feature world, and we would hire a lot of actors, or we would hire producers that were from that world to help us with our films, and we had full control of like everything we were doing as YouTubers, right? They would always be like, man, it'd be so fun to have full control and just be able to do stuff. And we're like, man, it'd be so cool to be in features. What are you talking about?
right.
Just talk about that, like the losing freedom, your creative freedom to a studio, but needing the funding versus just fully backing it yourself and having full creative freedom. Have you had experiences where one's better than the other?
Yeah, I mean, I think that there are, I guess, pros and cons to both sides of it,
Yeah.
right? To have the creative resources, needed, studio fund,
Yeah.
your movie is so much bigger, and you can finally write that script that involves a flooding house or huge typhoon scenes or things
Yeah.
like that. That's very freeing and enjoyable. But then to say, okay, and these are the people that I like in it, and for the studio to say, no, not approved.
Dang.
They say, okay, well, this is the way I'd like to shoot it. And they say, well, why don't you send an actual, more specific shot list, or these shots are not approved.
Yeah.
And you go, oh,
Dang.
okay, this is the handcuffs that are taken off with lack of money are now put on with perhaps lack of
Interesting.
vision.
Yeah. It's kind of pick your poison.
Yeah, it is big poison. And I'm trying to figure out how to put the positive spin on that.
Yeah.
Right. Because it is very, very fun to create on your own. Like, either way, I guess if you
Different set of
can find
challenges.
rewards, you can make either process rewarding.
Yeah.
Say, look, I'm okay. My wife says, look, you can have a passion project, but you also have to have a paid project each
Yes.
time. And in the feature film world that I'm in, that paid project is usually the one that I don't get to be creatively invested in.
Yeah.
And mentally, if I can just kind of surrender that mental ownership and say, still I care very much about the success of this project,
Yeah.
but I'm not going to stake my mental energy in it. Great. I'm going to deliver it. And if you give me the most weird random notes, I'm going to execute them.
Yep.
That's great.
Yep.
I'll do that. Because my passion projects are going to be that. And those at this point are still limited financially.
Yeah.
But boy, they're so rewarding passionately.
That's cool. And I keep tying it back to my world, but it's like the same thing, man. In
Same.
every industry, it's like we're filmmakers. We'll take the gig if it's going to pay.
For sure.
And Jeremy talked a lot about this too. He's like, I'll shoot that commercial or I'll shoot this, but my passion is here. And I know that by doing this, I have to support my life and my family, but this is what I'm working for so that I can do these passion projects.
Yeah.
It's similar to you. Do you have a passion project that I know you've got 2 films right now that are in production. Do you have, are both of those passion projects, or are they like more funded, less creative freedom?
They're both passion projects.
Cool.
Yeah. So well, I'm hoping, boy, if we could launch these, then that'd be great.
Yeah.
You know, there'll be a little bit bigger budget. You know, these kind of I'm now gravitating, kind of living in this $1 to $4 million per movie type budget, and then distribution, you know, P&A on top of that. And but that's what I'm passionate about, and we have a model that recoups that. That we've been very fortunate to be able to have key relationships with Angel Studios or other distributors that help those become recoupable, and it's a good business model. There's inherent risk with everything, right? I mean, something could go wrong and the movie couldn't turn out, or we think the story's going to be great and the audience doesn't respond, whatever it is. But generally, that's kind of where we're at with these passion projects. And then the paid projects right now would be, you know, I just did a script for hire, or I'm editing people's trailers for their own short films or whatever it is. And I'm grateful for those. Yeah. Because sometimes, even if it's not about the money, it's like it's creatively exhausting, right? To have to write and direct and produce. That's a creative, while it's motivating, it can just be exhausting. And sometimes it's nice to just be able to turn my brain off and edit. I
hear that.
It sounds like I'm not trying to be very creative in that edit, but
you are. It's a different type of brain.
It becomes autopilot mode.
Yeah, totally.
I know what this is supposed to be.
Yeah, it's a different brain function. Can we talk about one movie that we could throw on the screen that is out? That there's two ways to position this question. We can talk about your most successful or your most fulfilling film up to this point.
Yeah.
Do they coincide and they're the same, or? Because that'd be cool, right? If you, but
well, we get, yeah, they're. I mean, with you probably know this. Each movie is like your own kid, right?
Yeah.
You go, okay, which kid's
kid's my favorite?
My favorite, and everybody knows it's the youngest. But you don't say that.
Always the youngest.
No, but
I hear that.
They're all fulfilling, and no, I'm grateful for each one of them. One that I like talking about is one of my most recent. Is called Faith of Angels, which again is this. I do gravitate, kind of live in this faith-based space, but there's a market for that.
Yeah.
We did a movie when I was shooting in Romania. I was shooting that studio movie in Romania. We ended up having dinner just coincidentally with Billy Zane, right? Who happened to be in Romania at the same time. He was just wrapping up a movie. And we walk into a restaurant, and Billy Zane's there. And
no way.
Hey, go over there.
That's cool.
And I was just like, what are you talking about?
Yeah.
So, and I'm getting, there's a point to this story. We sit down with him, and he had just wrapped, or he was wrapping some movie or something like that. And he's like, so what do you tell us what are you doing? What are you working on? And I was super shy about it. Like, I didn't want to be like, oh, I'm making a faith-based missionary movie about a flooding house. But I did. He could read me, and doing a faith-based movie. And he's like, man, he like was super serious. Like, don't knock that.
Yeah.
There's a market for that.
Yeah.
And you just like that's part of creativity, and you should own that. And I was like, okay, that left an impact on me.
Yeah.
So, and I believe it. I mean, right now, there's never been a better time for faith-based filmmakers, right? You got Amazon that is the #1 shows, or Chosen, and House of David, right? And then you've got Lionsgate, who's just releasing these $40 to $60 million box office, consistently performing movies.
We need it.
It's a great time.
We need it.
So that broad faith-based market is definitely open to us. And this last movie I did is called Faith of Angels. That's a long way to get to that point.
Yeah, no, it's cool.
But I'm super excited about it. I love that people are responding to it. It's a movie. It's a true story. This is one that the people who had this experience came to me and said, would you consider this as a movie?
Yeah. And
it was, I thought, the way that we could position this would be very interesting to me to make.
So cool.
So we shot this one locally in Utah. Our DP, Jeremy's so hard to book now. He's hard to make his deal. So our DP was a guy named Ryan Little, who directed.
I've reached out to him. If he's listening, he did say he wants to be on the podcast, but he's obviously out of town. He's out of town.
What are you doing? No, Ryan's awesome.
He's like, next time I'm in town, let's get me on. So, Did I see Kirby Hayborn in this?
Kirby Hayborn is in this. Kirby Hayborn was in
There he
scout
is.
camp with me as well, or not with me, but he did
What a guy.
scout camp for me. And
Cool. I didn't realize that.
yeah, so Kirby's a good friend. We've all kind of been buddies forever. And it is a true story about a boy that gets lost in an abandoned mine, back in 1989, and 5 days later, despite all odds, is found.
Wow.
It's this community that's looking for him and cannot find him. Absolutely cannot find him. There's one guy up in Montana that knows nothing about the story. He's supposed to be up in Montana for weeks. He wakes up in the middle of the night with this prompting to drive to Utah. He follows that prompting, drives to Utah, and learns that there's this kid lost in a mine. And he's like, that's the same mine I used to play in as a kid.
Wow.
And so this is our guy. It stars John Michael Finley, who's he's known for If I Can Only Imagine, which is a big, huge faith-based movie. In fact, they have a sequel coming out in February.
Cool.
So stars John Michael Finley, and Cameron Arnett is also another very well-known faith-based actor. And it was a super fun project.
Way cool. And I was gonna ask what was the second actor's name?
Cameron Arnett.
Oh,
and John Michael Finley.
John Michael Finley. He's the one that was in T.C. Christensen's, the one that they shot in the winter.
So
anyway.
You might be thinking of Jason Wade. Jason Wade is in 17 Miracles.
17 Miracles, that's what I was thinking of.
Yeah.
Jeremy shot that one.
Jeremy was an operator on that, right?
Yep.
Yeah. Jason. So we used a lot of local Utah actors.
Yeah.
Which there's an incredible talent pool. I mean, Kirby and Jason Wade and Joel Bishop you saw in there, and Isaac Akers.
And it's getting bigger too. And better.
And
Everyone's
Charlotte
coming to
Hemmings,
Utah.
who lives up in Park City, just an amazing.
And did this one do well? Meaning, I don't want to say successful because that can mean so many things. Was it received well? Did it get into theaters?
Yeah.
Why is this one the one that sticks out to you? Is that a good story behind it, or just?
Yeah, I mean, it's just an amazing story all the way through. I mean, I think it proved our model of, hey, let's write the script, raise the money, make the film, and then distribute it, and getting these. They're not messagey film. I hope they're not messagey films. Like
good stories.
They're just narratively entertaining.
Yeah.
But we're very grateful for people that respond and say, yeah, this impacted me. This was meaningful to me. And then one of the things we did with this one is DVD is dead. Right?
Yes.
We don't really count that right now.
Unless you own an RV and you're out in the middle of nowhere. I've learned that. I was like, DVDs are back.
Well,
my kids were like, what the heck is this?
We do sell about 130 DVDs a month on Amazon, but I know it's just one grandma giving it to another grandma.
Totally.
And it will never get unwrapped.
Yeah, totally.
Which is
so
okay.
funny. Yeah.
Which is great.
For sure.
Thank you, Grandma.
Yes. Shout out.
For all the grandmas that are streaming this.
No kidding, right? There's there's more than you think.
The distribution side of this was very, we made a lot of good decisions on the distribution side. From an independent filmmaker to say, hey, recognizing, you know what, we're not going to sell blanket rights to this movie for one distributor to just kind of do what they do and try to get it out there.
Yeah.
Like, we're going to sell, if you have an audience, then you get rights to the movie for your audience. And so it's playing very well with PureFlix on their audience, and they've got 1 million views on their YouTube channel, Faith of Angels, that you can stream.
Cool.
We've also sold it to Angel Studios.
Awesome.
And so Angel has 1 million subscribers that are watching the movie. And we sold it to such and such, and we continue to sell it, and we reserve rights for other people until they have audiences.
That's amazing. It's so fun to hear about the distribution process, because there's probably so many ways to distribute films now, and more than anything, just different locations. Yeah. People that have money that are looking, there's so many. I mean, everyone's feeding for content right now. Ever since Tiger King came out, it's like, we can create a video and sell it to Netflix and it blows up. There's so many documentaries, I swear, every week. Yeah. But before we get to the end of the podcast, there was one question, and I just thought of this as we were talking. But there's a formula to obviously making a successful movie, right? A quote unquote movie that is going to drive eyeballs, drive revenue, get sold to studios. When you're you're so involved in the entire process. I asked the same question to Joe Gerard, because I just think it's so interesting. Do you have a formula that you think about when you're approaching a film that is maybe a true story or it's fictional? Is there a structure that it lives within to like not guarantee its success, but like, this is what we need? What I'm getting to is, how do you make a good movie that people want to watch? Like, what is the framework that you live within? What do you think about when you start writing? You're like, it needs these things.
Yeah. Oh, that's good.
It's a very loaded question.
Yeah, no, that's a great question, and I think it would be arrogant, or I'd be lying if I said this is what I do, or this is the formula.
Yeah.
And I think that's like you look at the weekend releases every weekend and go, okay, this one tanked.
Yeah.
Well, clearly there's not a formula, right?
Yes.
There is no A plus B equals C
Yes.
in movie making. And I think recognizing that is vital.
Yeah.
When I'm looking at a project, if you're saying, hey, what's a project that you're going to do? It does need to kind of appeal to the audience that I'm building.
Yeah.
That I need to feel like that. And then I also need to feel like that I can have a creative input into it. Is there a reason that my experiences or my team or whatever gifts I bring to the table, am I allowed to put that into this story?
Yeah.
And I'll pass on a lot of projects because I think there's people better qualified to tell that story. People that said, hey, can you tell this national treasure type adventure movie? And like, I would love to, but I think that story deserves this individual or this better.
Yeah.
And so there does have to be a fit for it. It's like 18 months to 3 years of your life to make the movie. And I gotta say, is that something that I would really that I feel like I can put my whole soul from, and that story is going to be better because I'm involved in it.
Yeah. What is interesting about that answer is it's very similar to what Joe said. Joe said it in a different way though, and I think the way you're saying it is it's got to be relatable to you as a director. Like, you need to relate to the story and put in your own experience. And he said that it needs an audience that relates to it. So it's like, if you're creating a story and it's it doesn't have, if people don't feel like they can relate to the characters, or if they don't feel like they can relate to the experiences, there might be some people, but like, the more people that relate to those experiences and it causes some kind of emotion, the more likely they're going to refer or go see it. Yeah. And I'm totally butchering what he said, but it was in that just whole being relatable realm. Yeah. And so I'm sure when you're writing, you're creating characters that people will relate to, and maybe it's the hero or it's the villain. Are those things you're intentionally doing?
Yeah. I think so. I mean, I'm still trying to write and pay attention to the narrative structure and say, hey, how are these stories? Yeah. How does this story about a boy that's lost in mind fit within the world of a narrative arc? Yeah. Right. I try to pay attention to the audience. Like, what is the audience? And so, hopefully that we continue to be able to deliver what they want to see.
That's awesome.
One of the things too, that as far as what draws me to a film or not, and this has been a recent paradigm shift, and so I love discussing this because for the first 20 years of my career, I've been like trying to find stories that I can raise money for and make on a responsible budget and put in theaters and get investors their money back. And we've just kind of come to the realization that for me as a filmmaker, to tell a wealthy, billionaire investor that if he invests in my movie, I'm going to make him $100,000 or whatever it is. Mm-hmm. That's just got to be the most awkward, weird pitch to anybody. Yeah. I'm going to tell you, rich guy, how to make more money on the riskiest thing. Yeah. Rather than looking for oil in your backyard. Yeah. And so we've had a paradigm shift, and faith-based movies fit within nonprofit, charitable organizations. And so I think what we do as filmmakers is a unique enough space that mission-driven donors are much more willing to donate than to invest in these types of stories that we're telling. And I'm finding now that I'm having much more success raising money or creating awareness for these stories because of the nature of what this is, of the power that we're dealing with.
Yeah.
Right? That emotion that you feel in Karate Kid.
Yes.
Or the tears that are coming down because you're watching a kid be found in a mine. Like, that is going to cause somebody to say, I want to be a part of that story. And nobody has ever asked, how do I get my money back from creating a positive impact on you? Say, hey, here's the revenue. This, as a filmmaker, we're going to make a movie. We're going to put it in theaters. This is the revenue that comes back. If it does or if it doesn't, great. But we're not going to let that drive our decisions anymore. Like, now it's fully about the story. And what is the story and what are we going to do to get this out there? That's a long answer to...
It's amazing.
How do you decide what you're going to work on?
Yeah.
If I can get somebody that's mission-driven, excited about that story, that's worth working on.
Yeah, because then if they give you their money and it doesn't get their money back, they are like, hey, I don't care. I invested in a story. I invested in something that I believe in. And you believe in. And they want to support you in that.
Yes, yeah. And there's a coolness factor about film, right?
Yeah.
Nobody ever takes their family to Disneyland, has the time of their life, and comes back and says, man, that was great. How do I get my money back?
Yeah.
You go, no, that was it. Like, that's the
Yeah.
experience.
Yeah.
And with film, we as filmmakers, we can own that. We're like, this is unique.
Yeah.
Like, it's crazy hard what we do, and it's a very unique experience. And most people, when they get money, they're like, oh, wouldn't it be cool to make a movie?
Yeah.
Like, that's like this inherent thing, because it's like, wouldn't it be cool to tell a story? I want to tell something to preserve my legacy or a legacy.
Love that. It's so cool. I learned that in film school, actually, is give people an experience more than I don't even know what the opposite of that. If you can add
value, right?
Yeah, value. If you can add an experience to anything you do in life, the best analogy that they gave me was a parking garage. Like, how boring is a parking garage, right? And there's a parking garage in some city that, like, decked it out. I think it's in Chicago. Just completely decked it out in Michael Jordan, like, everything.
Oh, nice.
So it's an experience, and people want to park there because of that, right? And so I feel like with what you're saying is that when you go to investors and you're selling them on the experience of creating a movie, but not only that, you're creating a film that most people will enjoy, that will create an experience for them and the viewer.
Yeah.
Like, it's more emotional, and it's like, yeah, I want to do that. You're more likely to close that deal.
You're doing it with your audience too, right? You're doing it with your audience.
True.
Saying, man, you gave me an amazing audience. Your amazing experience as an audience member. I'm going to see what else you have.
Yeah.
And that goes as far as your investors or your crew.
Yeah.
Like, we try to treat our crew really well.
Cool.
I don't know. Maybe Jeremy will say something differently, but
no, he obviously keeps working with you. So
we take good care of him.
That's
and,
awesome.
Yeah, it's about the experience.
Way cool. I love that answer. Let's get to the end of this, which is you've done a lot in your career. You've created a lot of features. I love asking more experienced filmmakers this question, which is, where do you see this going in the next, it doesn't even have to be 5 to 10 years, is what I usually ask. Like, where is there an end game for you? Is there a means to an end? Where do you want your career to continue progressing? Because progress is so important in our lives, right? We don't want to get stale and stagnant. Where do you see yourself going? So
I've just I am at that point in my career where it's like, okay, I've done this, I've done feature films, I've been doing this for 25 years, and it's a great question. It's one that has kept me up late at nights for years, and as of about the past year, I've kind of come to that realization of like, okay, now it's time to start helping others to do this, or to see, or to whatever it is. So within this past year, I started a foundation called the Help Them See Foundation. Cool. And through that, me and my partner in it, Kirby Hayborn, we are essentially helping filmmakers get faith-based movies out, either made or into theaters. Awesome. And that's our goal. So we take mission-driven donors and pair them with faith-based filmmakers. That's really cool. And it's been so rewarding. There's so much talent right now. Yeah. Like, it blows my mind. The generation coming up under me, even, like, I've had a few of them in here, and I'm just like, dude, you guys are creating some of the best films. I love it. How are you doing this? They have a lot of great resources, and then and that's what I hope this podcast is, and I think you're already doing that as well, as like giving back. You're giving your story, your experiences, and helping people go along the way. But
That's really cool. And I think that there's probably so much opportunity for you guys to find people to pair donors with. And is that happening like right now? Are you guys doing that? I know it's just pretty new.
Yeah, it's happening right now. I mean, the foundation was formed in August. So we're recording this 6 weeks later.
Yeah.
But we've had donors come in and projects be submitted, and it's a matter of we've got an amazing board, board of directors that will review the different projects and help align donors to the right projects. And with that, our 2 films that we're doing, this dog movie and then the European history film, are going to be submitted before the board as well. And so
cool.
It's very new, but I think that there are amazing opportunities.
It's a really cool idea, especially with coming with your background and knowing when a project is most likely a good investment or a donation place to put your money. That's pretty cool. And how do you trying to decide how to when you see a film that you want donors to put money behind, what does that look like? Is it the person? Is it the director that maybe created it, or is it the story?
Yeah, it'll be the board that makes those decisions. Yeah. But I think that the film, the story itself has to fit within the parameters of some sort of faith-based element, faith adjacent, just because it is donor money.
Yes.
And that has to be, it's completely like tax-free donations. Yeah. So there's a faith element to it, but it's non-specific. It's a family movie or a faith-based horror movie or whatever it is. I think that's a pretty broad range that we'll be able to look at.
Cool. Yeah, I only asked the question just to if someone was listening and they're I want to get into this. Submit my film to your company.
helpthemseefoundation.org and there is no submission process right now. People are reaching out and sending an email through the website saying,
cool,
hey, here's a project. Or more people are like, hey, how do I want to donate? I want to support what you guys are doing. So we do have a list of films right now that are that the board will look at, that you can either donate to the foundation itself, that we can now help people help film festivals or filmmakers, fund P&A campaigns or whatever, or you can donate to specific films.
Yeah.
But
is it scripts that you're seeing, or are they actually pilots?
No, we don't do. It's not pilots. It's not I think Angel Studios is a great model of make your short film and get feedback on it. But no, it's very much team, like a pitch deck.
Okay, cool. That's awesome.
Yeah.
And then you help them build it and make the movie.
Yeah.
And then do you help them distribute it too? Or at least give advice? So
the foundation will, the filmmaker or whoever's submitting the project they're the producer. They own the movie and things like that.
Okay.
So we only will take the donations and give them to whatever production company is making the movie.
Awesome.
So they do that and
you get them on there
and throw the logo on the back of it. And
cool.
We want them to succeed. We want them to succeed.
I have to imagine, obviously it's 6 weeks old. Years from now, you're gonna probably have some pretty cool films under your belt, like a Napoleon Dynamite that comes out, and you're like, "Yep, we started.
We helped fund that." Yeah.
Started.
I think that is the goal.
Cool.
You say, "Hey, where are you 5 to 10 years from now?"
Yeah.
God, if our first year we have 2 movies that we'll be supporting and creating, we feel like we can raise donations and facilitate those and funnel those into 2 movies.
Way cool.
Put into theaters. But our next year was 5, and then we hope to be able to do about 10 to 12 movies a year that are just really faith-based and driving filmmakers to their audience.
Way cool. That's cool. That's a great vision for sure. It's kind of it's a way to give back. Obviously, with all your experience, you're able to now share that with other filmmakers. And I think that's really cool. And awesome, you get to work with Kirby too.
Kirby's so great.
He's one of the best dudes ever. I did one film. It was Making Good. I went and shot it.
Oh, nice.
I edited quite a few of those episodes, but shot one. Just spent one weekend with Kirby, and I'm like, man, this guy is gold.
Yeah. I don't think people realize. I mean, I think people do realize why he's golden.
Yeah.
but he's just so gifted and so talented,
Yeah.
and he's exactly who he is in real life as he is on screen.
So cool. Like
Yeah.
when I was kind of intimidated because I grew up watching him, and he was almost like he made me feel like he was intimidated by me. He's like, who are you? And I'm like, don't you're talking.
So amazing. Yeah.
He's such a good dude.
Plus, he's just one of the funniest guys you'll
He's
ever
so
meet.
funny.
Right.
So witty.
Yeah,
Oh my gosh.
Yeah.
So I think because of all, you've offered so much great advice in this entire podcast that I'll forego the last question, and I want to jump straight to the question, which is funny. So I asked this question at the end, and it's for the guest coming on next. I don't know if we prepped you for this. Did we send you this?
No.
So I'll let you think about it while I explain it. But we have the guest ask the next guest a question about anything, whether that's film related or life related. So we have a guest coming on next week. You won't know who they are, but you'll just ask a question that's just general, that maybe you want to know the answer to, or someone that is watching would want to know the answer to. But what's funny is we did this with Jeremy last week, and we didn't tell him you were coming. And so he asked the question, and then I was like, yeah, Garrett Batty's coming on. He's like, that's so fun. So the fact that you guys know each other is cool. Do you remember the question? Okay.
If there's one thing in your career that you could go back and correct, something you feel like you could have done better, what would that be?
So I'll ask so we can hear. If there's one thing you could have done in your career to fix or correct, to change the trajectory, is there one thing that you would have changed to make it better? Was that it? Yeah, to make your career better, or just in general different?
That's what Jeremy asked.
He asked if there's one thing you would change to make your career
I'm
better.
curious what Jeremy would say.
Didn't he answer it? I can't remember what he
did he
ended up
respond?
saying. Yeah.
Yeah, you'll have to. I'll watch the podcast.
It hasn't come out yet, but we'll make sure we get that too.
Good for that. I think that I would try to be a better networker.
Okay.
It's just something I've never been good at, and I'm always secretly jealous of those guys, those individuals that recognize very early on that it's like, hey, we are creating this together. Like, it's okay to look foolish or make a mistake or be, wrong.
Yeah.
Like, it's okay. We're figuring this out together. And I think you start to build a network of trusted friends that you're doing this together with.
And so
it
when
took
you
me years to recognize that.
Oh, really? So like when you say network, does that mean going to events or just like reaching out to people? What does that mean?
I think what you're doing. I think like, hey, we're building this podcast, and I don't know you, but will you come talk to me for an hour?
It's scary for me.
It's scary,
and
right?
I'm sure it's scary for the guests too. It's like, oh, what is this? Is this going to be embarrassing? but I hope.
No, you say yes to these types of things, and you never know what it's going to lead to. And starting from first day in film school, me looking around, going, you guys don't nobody here makes movies, and me thinking I'm the hot shot here. So I'm going to get out of this school in 3 years, and the rest of you are going to be still here, and I'm going to be out in L.A. No. Like, look around and go, that's your network. That's your team. These are the guys you're going to learn with, and let's do this together.
That's so cool.
I would love to go back and be a better networker there.
That's really great advice.
Like, sincere network.
Yes.
Not just what's
like, I'm going to use you to do this.
I'm going to be your friend.
Yeah.
Like, what are you working on, man? What's your family? How are things going?
Very cool.
I think Jeremy's a master at that.
Yeah. He's such a good guy. And when I very first met him, he was just shooting it was a silly workout video. And I just remember him because he was so kind and just wanted to know who I was.
Right.
And it stuck with me. He doesn't remember it. But anyway, just followed him ever since. So I think that's really cool advice and so important, because I think it's easy to think you can do things on your own. And when one of the advice that one of my professors gave me was, you're going to come out of college with a group of people that you're going to probably be with the rest of your career. So find those people and stick with them and help them, and they'll help you, and doing it for the right reason. Like you said, not like I'm trying to use you to get somewhere. It's like, how can I help you? Which internally helps you.
There is so much truth in that. Yeah. So much truth in that.
Cool. Amazing. So I haven't given you much time to think about it. Do you have a question that you would like to ask the next guest?
I'd love to know. One of the things I like to find out from people is like, what is their pet peeve, like movie plot device? Right? Is it, I'm going to, every time I say a prayer, we're going to cue the strings.
Yeah.
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 Like, what is a pet peeve plot device?
The violin.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like,
Yeah. Do you have a pet peeve that sticks out to you?
oh, probably that.
That is it. That's the one. That's
I'm
awesome.
probably guilty of that too, but
Yeah.
no, I think I think, yeah, just plot conveniences where like
Yeah.
the script, you can just see the screenwriter going, oh, this is clever. You're
Yeah.
like, no, it's
This
not
has
clever.
been used over and over.
Yeah.
That's cool. I'm trying to think if there's anything that's a pet peeve to me that stands out. I'm so much of I analyze videos the way they're edited so often,
Yeah.
and the way that they're shot and lit. I'm trying to think if anything stands out to me. Can't think of it right now, but that's a great question.
Yeah.
We will take
It's not
it
as
there.
deep as Jeremy's question.
I think it's fun because it
fun.
starts a conversation, and I'm going to be thinking about it now, especially as I'm watching films, and then I'll hit you up and be like, this is my pet peeve.
Okay, the other one is like when the whole plot of the movie is based on an argument that maybe could have been resolved by, you know,
Oh
like,
my gosh.
oh, let me just say this, and the person says, no, let me talk first.
Yeah.
And that is the plot of the movie.
Yes.
Like, cow.
Or I guess maybe one is the fact that everyone has cell phones these days, and any movie that doesn't realize you could just call the person or just
He said this.
it's like this whole freaking movie could be resolved with a text message. Why aren't we doing that?
Yeah.
That's easily probably a lot of people's pet peeves, but
Sure.
sometimes how do you tell a story? You know, I guess you got to get more
Gotta
creative.
Get around it.
Yeah,
Get it
100%.
figure it away. Go in the mountains where they don't have reception.
Yes, exactly. We don't have service. Well, thank you for coming on, taking the time. Really appreciate you being in here and educating the people and telling your story more than anything. So thanks for being on.
Thank you.
Cool. We'll end it for the classic.
What do you do?
Ben says I do this at the end of every podcast. I do this. Oh, big stretch.
There's that
Now I will.
discussion.
Now I'm always gonna do it just to get under your skin.
That's